She is one of the members of the Toronto Poetry Slam team this year for 2018. She's a national champion. Make some noise for being a national champion poet. She's a mom, a really caring individual, and just someone doing a lot of great things in her community. And we're really pleased to have her here. Please put your hands together for Amoya Ree.
I'm from an island by way of Africa, by way of this continent called Jamaica. I love being Jamaican. I wouldn't have it any other way. And I love my Caribbean people, and I love my African people. We're all African people. I'm still holding my husband, he's over there holding the camera, promised to take me to Ghana. Has not fulfilled that promise yet. So I'm not letting it go, just so he knows.
Damn, son.
Y'all are my witness. If I come back and I'm still not, I haven't visited, you know who's to blame.
Cut the video, cut the video. No proof.
The great Adidja Pump, also known as the Vibes Cartel, once wrote, XOXO, my love is very special. If you want it, you can have it, but don't take me for granted. So much, so much, so much things I did not say. I'm from Portmore, that's in JA. We can do it on that DJ. And then it happens. Felt that, right? The lyrical enchantment of my hips. Suddenly I am ticking and talking like the watch on my wrist. I remove my earbud to ask my friend, do you hear this shit? Does it make sense to you? I'm moving like I'm about that life, or at least in the video, when really, I'm from Mandeville, Jamaica. But I grew up in Scarborough. See, they call me Jamaican Canadian, which is another way of saying that I am not enough of either while being too much of both. I am reduced to being classified by a line that is barely wide enough to fit a letter from my name. I am the hyphen. I am the hyphen. It is the reason why in a class full of white students, I become the expert on immigration, as if my people always had the luxury of coming here by choice. It is the reason why when I open my thermos of hot foods, my oxtail has some seasonings on it that you can't even fathom. And nothing tastes as bitter as biting into a pimento seed, except maybe the taste of my shame that I swallow when one of those kids says, ew. What's that smell? It is the reason why little girls used to put leaves in my hair. See, to them it was just a nappy nest for which twigs could only make better. This hyphen is why I sit closely to my uncle's every word, hoping that every bumba clot I hear pushes me over that line and makes me just Jamaican. This hyphen is both question mark and definition. This hyphen is the source of my PTSD. That's post-traumatic stress disorder from diasporic displacement. Ooh, I am the hyphen. I am carded before I am guarded by police. I am expected to sit still as my neighbor puts his hand up my skirt. See, this hyphen is a line too short and easy to cross. And no, the school teacher never beat me. And no, I'm gonna walk with cutlass. And no, I'm gonna bathe in river water. But trust me, I've drowned at least 1,000 times. That's hyphen. Thank you. This next piece was a special request by Spin. We all know how that goes. Spin gets what Spin wants. So I performed this one at the final stage for the Toronto Poetry Slam. And it's one of my favorites too, so I get it. It's called Dollar Store Waste Man.
Letting them fix up.
Let me get a tissue.
All right, we'll talk about it after. One of my favorite places to shop is the dollar store. I mean, who doesn't love a good dollar store? It's a place where you can get anything from socks to cotton pads to pregnancy tests, oven mitts, gift bags, and strange men who question your genetic history as they hit on you. It's great. But for the record, when you say, "Hey beautiful, how you doing?" and I respond, "Fine," that usually indicates that the conversation is over, right? Like I didn't come follow up with a, "And you?" which means I have no interest whatsoever in your well-being, as I am too busy trying to figure out where they put those compost bags again. But you continue, because even in my perfectly safe dollar store loving world, a man must control this conversation, must pull from tongue words I did not put there, looks at me like reasonably priced product for you to inspect before purchasing, takes my politeness as permission because clearly no one taught you of consent. You say, "You're so beautiful, what are you mixed with?" I take a moment to collect my thoughts because I've seen enough women assaulted after rejecting a man's advances. I myself have been spat on once and I'd like for it not to happen again. I must be careful not to trigger you even though you are pistol, and we all know it's easier to blame the shooter than it is the gun, the way we blame women for being out that late or for wearing a skirt that short. I say, "Well, I'm mixed with black and black." You laugh. I'm serious. I turn to walk away and you grab at my arm. "No, really, you're so light. You must be mixed with something." But in that moment, I am heavy. In that moment, I am filled with the terror of your grip and the delusion of your eyes. In that moment, you are magnifying glass and I burning it. You are trying to use the sun to destroy me, as if I was not already made of fire, as if you can force me to like this, as if I must thank you for noticing Mass's gift, as if it is now gift for you to take, and now it is also target for your twisted white privilege fantasy. Another black man saying to his friends, "I can't date a bitch darker than me," as if your mother wasn't majestic midnight. As if your sister is in black sky with stars for eyes. I pray my son never develops a fetish for internalized racism, so if I am mixed with anything, it is promise, it is wonder, it is God, it is goddess, it is hurricane, it is paradise, it is darkness, it is light, it is woman, it is man. I pull back my arm back away and say I am a perfect storm of blackness and magic, and leave me the fuck alone. So colorism sucks. Yeah, we need to put an end to that bullshit. No. Okay, this next piece is called Library, and it's very near and dear to my heart. I hope you like it. Okay. My first act of rebellion happened when I was just 7 years old. I ran away from home, my Barbie suitcase filled with nothing but books. My mother never even tried to stop me. She sobs into her laughter when she retells the tale, I guess. Hurt people love to hear a good story. One of the first slave rebellions happened in the early 18th century. Nat Turner led an uprising that would see nearly 50 white slave owners dead, armed with nothing but biblical prophecy and batons. He read of a freedom that could only come by force. He told it again and again, I guess. Hurt people love a good story. The library is where little black girls go to find peace when the war is raging within us. When we know too well what happens to black girls who speak as loudly as their mothers do. Falling face first into imagery that looks nothing like our destiny, that tells us we are gifted and special, then says no, not really. Anne of Green Gables, Wizard of Oz, Shakespeare, all the worlds in which black people suddenly disappear. It was illegal to teach slaves to read or write. Literacy was a threat to the institution of slavery. You want to hide something from niggas? Put it in a book. We all know they don't read. 3 black boys enter the library where I work on a Sunday. In search of books from the literary canon, I show them the black author section. Give them Zora Neale Hurston, Frantz Fanon, James Baldwin, call it reparations. I sit behind the counter now. White female aggression is nothing more than a nuisance that bothers me, asking me for help. Call it reparations. The current Librarian of Congress, Carla Hayden, is a black woman whose tenure will outlast Trump's presidency. Call it reparations. I am now teaching my 7-year-old son to read on his own. Call it reparations. He cries when he does not know the words, thinks that there was something wrong with him, but isn't this black privilege? To struggle with a language that has more names for you than you have for yourself. And haven't we read this story before? The one that couldn't fit on the shelf the way we wanted to, so we turned it on its side, weakening the spine, bending under the weight of institutional racism and people telling us that we don't belong, until eventually a little black girl has to write a poem about it, chooses a career in public libraries, uses the same government institution from which she was once banished to welcome little children with open arms, turning the belly of the beast into birthing room, into sanctuary, into asylum. Call it motherfucking reparations. Yes. It's called Blessed Son. I was not cursed with child. I was blessed with son. I was not cursed with child. I was blessed with son. I was not cursed with child. I was blessed with son who will rise, 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 and be my morning glory. I remember being sick to my stomach, thinking it was something I ate. Still didn't acknowledge his presence, even when my period came late. But I left that doctor's office clutching my purse, feet like bricks on concrete, vacant eyes glued to the ground, head heavy with questions of why and how. Sirens could have been blaring and I wouldn't even hear a sound. I was numb. It was nothing like the movies. There was no happy phone call to moms or sisters, just rummaging through closets to find the biggest t-shirts. See, I needed my shame to be hidden. I wholeheartedly believed that the more fabric that covered me, the easier it would be to fabricate my image. See, I come from a long-ass line of women who are too strong to speak of weakness, too smart to admit when they've done something dumb, and way too much pride to refuse the whiskey when we all prefer rum. So no one told me that our thick black bodies work something like machines. That when you give away the heart, you leave room for foreign entities to come in and develop parasitic relationships that suck the life out of you and give it right to it, leaving just enough breath so that you both can exist and share a body so beautifully, so magically, just to have you 9 months later pass it off so casually is just a mistake. I lost count of the amount of times I had my womb robbed clean, thinking it was the right thing to do, listening to women who never made it past grade 9 tell me that I still needed to stay in school. It was cruel and horrible and mechanical and cold, and yet there was still an inch of fatty tissues and lifeblood left for me to conceive. God, how could I not believe? And then 10:45 a.m. on a Sunday, so I knew he would be a boy, came the spark of my internal joy. I wish you could hear the way he laughs. He has this giggle that bubbles up from the middle and gets caught in his throat, not deep enough to choke, but just enough to make you wonder if anything could really be that funny. And I love it. I cried the first time I looked at him because he had no idea what this world could do to him. Members of my own community used to scorn and stare at the boy on my young hip, milk dripping from his even younger lip. How can I look him in the eyes and tell him that he is wrong for his own existence? That with every candle blown on a cake, someone is working to extinguish that flame and tarnish a reputation that he has yet to build. And the worst part of it all is he will know them all by name. I cringe each time he begs to go to Nana's place, knowing she didn't want him alive in the first place. Knowing that she is simply following in the footsteps of all the women who came before her, so I step aside and I scream for the world to hear. I was not cursed with child, I was blessed with son. I was not cursed with child, I was blessed with son. I was not cursed with child, I was blessed with son who will rise, 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 and be my morning glory. Instagram, AMOYAREE, Amoya Ree. Yeah, and YouTube.
Yeah, welcome. Yo, one more time.